Have you suddenly realized the importance of prepping, but you're not sure what to do or how to get started? Hi, I'm Jonathan.
And Kylene Jones, and we are the Provident Preppers. We have received numerous comments from viewers who are just now starting to prep in response to recent events. Whether you didn't see the value of prepping before or have procrastinated it until now, you'll want to watch this video and take notes.
We have created this video especially for you to help you get started and to prepare for challenging months ahead.
We have had so many people tell us that they wish they had gotten started earlier. They knew they should, but they just put it off. Are you one of those last-minute preppers? Well, now is the time. Let's get going.
It's important before you start to do anything that you conduct a risk evaluation. Really think about what risks you face. How long could you survive without going to the store for food, supplies, or medication? Are you prepared to survive a power outage?
And what are your resources? Think about the resources that you have at hand. Those are financial, knowledge, skills, connections, whatever those are. Make a list so that you know what you have.
We've been dealing with this recently as a family because we have a few kids that are going away to college, and they are concerned with all the craziness in the world that they aren't going to have the same access to the resources that they have all these years growing up. And we've had to teach them and help them understand that even though they won't be living with us any longer, we are still a resource for them during tough times. The first thing that I would do is to make sure that I have a well-stocked pantry.
Create some space and some money for food. Maybe you have some unnecessary items that you could sell. Or give some stuff away, install some shelves, make some room under beds, consolidate closets, whatever you've got to do to get the resources and the space to get this job done.
If I were just starting prepping today, my top foods would include foods that are available, shelf-stable, high-calorie, high-nutrition, budget-friendly, and foods that I like to eat. I would not waste my money on food that I wasn't going to eat. So start with the foods that are available. There are limited supplies of a lot of different things, and you may not be able to actually find the foods that you would really like to have. But having something is much better than having nothing. Let's chalk it up to the fact that you procrastinated a little bit and are going to have to settle for maybe not quite what you really wanted. The majority of your food should be shelf-stable foods that can remain just in your pantry without the need for refrigeration or freezing for an extended period of time. I would include prepackaged foods with this food supply, things that you can just eat right out of the bag or that were very easy to prepare. Make sure that you're only getting things that your family normally eats.
And make sure you have some shelf-stable beverages as well. Things that'll tie you through regardless of what happens.
And some of these are in that addiction category that you better make sure you have a lot of if you need it. I would recommend that everyone stock baking supplies because even if you do not bake a lot now, as times get a little bit more challenging, you're not going to be able to have all of those pre-made things available to you. So having the basics so that you can make some bread or rolls or a cake or something like that would be really valuable. And basic dry goods like dry beans, lentils, rice, rolled oats, pasta, dry potatoes, sugar, all of these items have a very long shelf life. They're inexpensive, and they can go a long way to filling hungry tummies.
With very delicious food.
Normally, I would recommend that when you purchase dry goods that you store them in packaging for long-term food storage so that they'll last for an extended period of time. However, right now, if you don't have a full pantry, it would be a really good idea to buy some of these foods in bulk and just put them in your pantry and rotate through them. In the photo on the bottom left-hand corner is a picture of my kitchen pantry. You'll see that I take advantage of plastic buckets of all different sizes with Gamma Seal lids to store dry goods in. The way that we normally rotate things is to take food that we have stored for long-term storage and bring it up from a basement storage room and pour them into the buckets, and that's how we rotate through our food. However, if you're just getting started, starting out with a pantry full of buckets of dry goods could be a great way to make it through this next crisis.
And don't forget about those comfort foods. I happen to have a wife and 2 daughters who are addicted to chocolate, so I darn well better have a bunch of it on hand.
And as we consider food storage, make sure that you diversify your food supply. We want to make sure that we do have a supply of ready-to-eat foods. We also want short-term and long-term food supply. If you click on the card in the corner, it will take you to a post that we have written on the difference between short-term and long-term food storage, and it'll kind of clear up any confusion that you might have about that. But your food also should be nutritionally balanced, and you want to store it in multiple locations, whether it's under a bed, in a closet, in your storeroom. I just want you to think about the damage that a bunch of hungry teenagers could do to your food supply in a very short period of time. Sometimes it's best just to not have it in places where they can see it and have access to it.
Anything that you can do to produce more food on your own is a great blessing to you. Things like a vegetable garden and fruit trees, berry bushes, grapevines, and having some chickens. These things take time to build up, so right now is the time to get started. A second category that we want to encourage is sanitation supplies. Now you notice at the front end of this pandemic, what disappeared? Things like soap and toilet paper. Wouldn't it be better to have these things on hand when you need them rather than try to fight for them?
Or do without them.
Or do without?
And build a supply of water in your own home. Water does take up a lot of space, so it can be a little bit challenging. If you click the card in the corner, it will take you to a post that we have written on how to store water for emergencies, and it's really thorough. You're going to want to check that out. The picture on the left is underneath the bed of a friend of mine. She is ingenious. She has taken used soda bottles and cleaned them out really well, and she fills them with water and stores them underneath the bed. It was free, and she has the supply of drinking water in the event of an emergency. Whether you decide to store your water in 55-gallon barrels or in disposable water bottles, just make sure that you have some water stored in your home for emergencies.
It makes sense for us to be prepared for a power outage and perhaps an extended power outage. With all the threats to the grid that we know of, and those are increasing all the time, it just makes sense to be able to live without power for some period of time.
Last November, we took the challenge to live without using natural gas or electricity to cook our food for the month of November. We had I wouldn't call it a great experience. We had a memorable experience. Make sure that you check out the description of this video, because in it we've included many links to important posts that we have written that will teach you exactly what you need to do to be prepared. One of those posts includes our experience with our grid down cooking challenge.
If we were to experience one of these power outages this winter, would you be able to stay warm? Do you have the heating sources and the fuel to make that happen? And how about that backup lighting? There are some great solar devices and other good tools that you can use to cover this.
And number 5, prepare for civil unrest. We have experienced so many terrible examples of civil unrest in the world lately, and it's just a really good idea to do what you can do to prepare yourself so that you can be safe regardless of the situation that you are placed in.
Number 6, be prepared to barter and to share. Last year we did a 3-month challenge where we didn't go to the store or out to eat for 3 months. We lived off of our storage and our garden. But one of the great things that we learned was how to barter. That was one of the things we could do, is to barter with others, to trade some things that they could use for things that we needed. It also blesses lives when we share with others. The bottom line of all this is that it's not too late yet. There's still things that we can acquire. Even if you didn't get started yet, there's time to get some things put together.
Not much. Don't waste time.
Let's get out there. You may be paying a little more than you would like, or you may not have quite the variety that you like, but there are things that you can do. But time is running out. So let's act now.
We invite you to visit theprovidentprepper.org. We have spent an incredible amount of time trying to create valuable content with information that can teach you how to be better prepared and answer your questions. So make sure that you take time to go and to visit theprovidentprepper.org. Again, in the description of this video, we will provide you with some links of some of the articles that may be of most value to you. And then on our YouTube channel, the videos are always like shorter synopsis of what is in the posts or the articles. So for the short and condensed version, we have created some videos that might be of great value to you as you quickly start to get your preps in order. The first one is building your survival food supply, and this is talking about the long-term food supply, the foods that will keep you from starving to death. And then also creating a 3-month food supply, which is what we are really encouraging you to do right now, is to stock up on those foods that you eat every day. And there's some really good ideas on how to do that in that video.
We mentioned briefly the 90-day no shopping challenge that we did. We have a series of videos that took us through that process. We think you'll like those, as well as the grid down cooking challenge, which we also did weekly updates on.
We also created a video on what we feel are the best heat sources to use during a power outage that will keep you from freezing.
Check them out.
We have some challenging months ahead of us, and while we can't control the future, we can control our readiness to face those challenges. Stocking up and building preparedness skills is only part of the equation. Serving and helping others is the other part.
And now for the question of the day. What are you doing to prepare for this upcoming year? Our goal is to provide you with excellent resources and information to help you in your preparedness efforts. What content can we add to make your preparedness efforts even better? Comment below, and thanks for being part of the solution.